So today we're going to be focusing on key features of graphs. So our objective is students will be able to determine key features of polynomial function from its graph. So all of this unit is going to be on graphs basically. Talking needs to stop, please. Eyes in front. All right, so for prior knowledge here, we have what are the x-intercepts and max and mins of the function. So this is prior knowledge. X-intercepts, remember, is where you cross the x-axis. And then you write it as a coordinate. It's the x comma y. And then the max and the mins. So the maximum, remember, is the highest point. And then the minimum is the lowest point. So go ahead and look at the two pictures on your notes. You guys have it. You don't have the exact questions, but you do have the two pictures on your notes so you can look at. Your two pictures right here, just look at it and not anywhere on the blanks over here, but just next to the graph. What are the x-intercepts and which is like the max and the min? Looking at your two pictures on your notes. Again, you're not filling in any of these blanks yet. Just next to the two pictures, what are the x-intercepts? And then do you have a max or a min? All right, go ahead and righties, tell your partner what are the x-intercepts in both examples. Righties? Again, you guys don't only talk about the x-intercept right now. Okay, ready? So I'm gonna call people to tell me. Maddie, can you tell me the x-intercepts? Yes, there's four. There's two in each graph. So x-intercept is where they cross the x-axis. So
-1 and 4?
-1 and 4. No, where you cross. Do you know where the x-axis is at?
Yeah.
This is the x-axis. So where are all of your points crossing the x-axis?
Is it -1 and 0?
Yeah, and the other one is 1 and 0. Okay, good. Now for the other graph, what are the x-intercepts? Simran? -2, 0, and 6 is 0. Good. All right, then for the maximum is the highest point. So which one has the maximum? Graph 1 or graph 2?
Cool.
Which one has a maximum? Graph 1, right? Maximum right here is the highest point. So graph 1 has a maximum, and graph 2 actually has a minimum. The minimum is at 2, -16. Okay? All right. So that's just for prior knowledge. Today we're going to be looking at key features. So like zeros, we're going to be looking at increasing, decreasing, positive, and negative. And I believe that's as far as we're going to get today. So just for concept, I don't think that this is on your notes anywhere, but just for vocabulary. Yeah, I don't see this on your notes anywhere, so you're kind of just listening at this point. We have the zero of a function is a value of x that makes the function equal to 0, okay? In other words, you're looking for what x value will make f of x equal 0, a true statement. And you find the zeros of a function to find an answer to a polynomial function such as x squared plus 4x plus 3. So basically, the zeros are the x value. It's the x value are the zeros where you're crossing the x-axis, basically, because your function is 0 at the x-axis, okay? So I'll say that, at the x-axis. So if I look at this example here, where am I crossing the x-axis? I'm crossing right here at the -3, 0. So the x value is at -3, so my 0 is -3. The other place I'm crossing the x-axis is over here at this 1, 0. So the x value is 1, so my 0 is 1. So if I look at this first example here, I have the zeros of f of x are blank. So this is on your notes now. It's the first graph, example number 1, and we're looking at the first blank. The zeros of f of x are blank. So I kind of just talked about this right now. But remember again, it's where it crosses the x-axis. So my x-axis is crossing at -3 right there and at the 1. So my two zeros are just the x values. So my x value is -3 and a positive 1. -3 and a positive 1. Okay, as a reminder, you guys should not have your phones out. If I see you on your phones, I'm going to ask you to put it on this back table, and you can get it at the end of class. All right, let's look at example number 2. What are the zeros here? Look at the x-axis. My x-axis is running up here. So what values are we crossing the x-axis? We're looking at the x values. So I see it crossing right here at the -2, 0 and crossing at the 6, 0. So the two zeros are going to be -2 and 6. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and have you guys look at this example. This is not on your notes at all. For the practice problems today, you're going to just be talking to your partner. So this is not in your notes. You guys can just do it on maybe the pink front cover right here. You can just be writing your answers down. You don't have to copy the picture. You guys can do it on your whiteboards. You can just be talking to your partner. But what are the zeros here? I'll zoom in for you guys. Oh my God, those. Okay, so now that you can see the graph better here, what are the zeros? Go ahead and lefties, share with your partner, what are the zeros? Remember, you're looking at the x-axis. What are the x values that touch the x-axis? Okay? And then from left to right on a count of 3, can you tell me what are your 3 zeros? From left to right. Ready? Tell me in 3, 2, 1. Okay, good. We got -5, 2, and 7. Awesome. Our 3 zeros are -5, 2, and 7. Awesome. All right, and then in today's notes, I apologize, but we're going to be flipping back and forth from like the first and the second page. So if we look at the second page on your notes at the very top, you have like two graphs right here. And then you have a text box at the top. So at the top of your text box, the very first blank, it says a function changes from blank. So your blank is increasing. A function changes from increasing to decreasing, or decreasing to increasing at the x values of relative maximums and minimums. Okay, so very important is right here. It changes at the x values of relative maximums and minimums. Okay, changes at the x values from maximums and minimums. Okay, so I'm going to go from increasing to decreasing, changing at the max and the mins. So if I look at increasing, I'm going to be using pink for increasing. So I'm going to go from the minimum over here to the maximum in the middle. I'm changing from the minimum to the maximum, and again from the minimum to the maximum over on the right side over there as well. Okay. I know on your graphs that you can't really tell, there's no color on it, so that's what I was saying. If you have maybe highlighters or something, you can highlight the difference between like increasing and decreasing. Okay, or you can just kind of make it bolded or something and write increasing, and then the other two you don't bold them and just say decreasing on the other ones. Okay, so my decreasing, I'm going to use blue so I can see decreasing from the top to the bottom, and from here from the top to the bottom. And if you notice, it changes from pink to blue at this, oops, I didn't know it was a highlighter. It changes from pink to blue at this point right here, which is a minimum. And it changes again from pink to blue at this point right here, which is a maximum. And then it changes from blue to pink at this coordinate point right here, which is a minimum. Okay, so it changes from min to max to min. That's where it changes direction from increasing to decreasing. I should have had you guys grab a cup. Highlighters. I do have highlighters. Okay. I do have highlighters here for those of you that would like to borrow. I don't have, they're mainly all yellow. So if you want, you guys can grab highlighters if you need them. Yeah. You gotta leave your phone. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the first example. So again, back to the front page. I apologize, but we are going to be flipping back and forth today. So back to the first example, we have the function is increasing on the interval blank, and the function is decreasing on the interval blank. Okay. So key thing to remember for coordinate points, we have an x and a y. Maybe I'll add a page to that. So for a page for coordinates, remember for coordinates, when you have a coordinate point, it's a x comma y for coordinates. However, when you look at intervals, they're x's. Both values are x's. So you have like a x1, comma, and an x2, okay? On intervals, they're both x values versus on a coordinate, sorry, I gotta put this on silent. Oops, I meant to put silent. Coordinates, you have a x comma y, but on intervals, you have a x1 comma x2, okay? Intervals, they're both x's versus a coordinate, you have a x and a y, okay? So I'll show you what I mean. So back to here, it says we have the interval where it's increasing. So in interval, I need to have both x values, okay? So this is going to be like a x1 and an x2. And I'm looking for where the function is increasing. So for my increasing, I'm going to be using pink for increasing. I'm going to use my pink highlighter for increasing. So remember, you're looking at going up from left to right. So where am I going up on the graph? Well, I'm going up on the graph on this portion of my graph. It's increasing from here to here, okay? All right, so then I gotta figure out from what interval, meaning like which x values am I coming from? So I need to figure out a coordinate point for this over here. I don't know what this coordinate point is because it kind of keeps going forever. If it's not stopping anywhere, there's no endpoint, just like a arrow there, it's going forever in that direction. So I need to make myself like a fake coordinate point right here. And how can I do that? Well, I need to figure out, is this the right side of the graph or the left side of the graph? I have two parts of my graph. So is this going to forever to the left side, this way, to the left side, or is it going forever to the right side? Left side, right? It's going forever to the left. And is it going, is the function going up forever or down forever? What's it going? Up or down? Down, right? This is going down forever. So if you look at the x-axis going to the left forever, these are going -1, -2, -3, -4, -10, -100, -1,000. What's it approaching? Which infinity does it get close to? Negative infinity. Likewise, with the y's, what are the y's doing? These are going -2, -3, -4, -10, -100, -1,000. It's getting closer to which infinity? Negative infinity, right? So my fake coordinate point there is like a negative infinity, comma, negative infinity. So when I write my interval, I'm looking at like the start of the pink to the end of the pink. It starts at negative infinity. And I'm going to follow my pink until where it stops at -1. Okay? So that's going to be my interval. That two x values are from negative infinity. And it stops at -1 because -1 is like the maximum right there. Okay? All right, so now I want to do the same thing, but this time I'm looking at the decreasing function. So when is the function decreasing? Well, remember it goes from the max to the min. So I have the maximum value up here at -1, and it keeps going forever down in this direction. So kind of just like we did for the increasing, I need to figure out where to stop my function. So I need to figure out what interval this is. So kind of just like we did for figuring out if it was left or going upwards, looking at this side over here, is this function going to the left or to the right? Which direction is this? The right side. And is it going up or down forever? Down. If you notice, it keeps going this way. So it keeps going downwards forever. And so think about the x-axis. As the x's go to the right, which infinity is it approaching, the positive or the negative? Positive infinity. And then it's going down forever. So down forever is approaching which infinity? Negative. So then for my interval for decreasing, remember looking at two x values. So I'm going to look at the start of the blue. So at the start of the blue, I'm at -1, and the blue keeps going forever until positive infinity. Okay, so my interval is going to be -1 to positive infinity. All right, so let's look now at the second example. So same thing, I'm going to be using pink for increasing. Remember, for increasing, you're going from top to bottom, from left to right, okay? So from bottom to top, sorry, I think I said top to bottom, but bottom to top is when you're increasing. So starting at the bottom, going towards the top, that's when my function is increasing because it's going upwards from left to right, okay? So for the increasing, it needs to go up from left to right. That's when you know it's increasing if it's going up from left to right. So kind of just like we did in the last example, we got to think of our fake coordinate point up here. That pink side over here, is this the left side or the right side of the graph? The right side. And is it going up forever or down forever? Up this time. So think about your infinities. The right side is going forever to which infinity? Positive. And going up forever is going to positive infinity also. Okay? And I didn't even explain the infinity symbol, but the infinity symbol is like a sideways 8. But I write my 8s with 2 circles, so my sideways 8 ends up being 2 circles next to each other. But it's basically a sideways 8 is the infinity symbol. Okay. So for the increasing, remember you're looking at the start of the pink to the end of the pink. So the start of my pink, I got the 2 right here. And I follow the pink until I get to the top of that positive infinity. So my interval for the x's is going from 2 to positive infinity. And then for the decreasing function, it needs to go down from left to right. So going downwards, I'm going from the top to the bottom. And I'm going from left to right. But again, this kind of goes on forever. There's an arrow really there. And we got to figure out our fake coordinate point here. Blank, comma, blank. So is that the left side or the right side? Left side. And is it going up or down? Up. So the left is which infinity? Negative. And going up forever goes to which infinity? Positive infinity. Okay? So it's a negative infinity, comma, positive infinity. And then for my interval, remember I got to go from the left to the right. So the start of the blue up here, the start of the blue down to the end of the blue. And I'm looking for the x values. So my x value is at negative infinity going down to positive 2. So this is negative infinity to positive 2. Because remember, we're looking at the x values from the start of the blue to the end of the blue. It's going from negative infinity to 2. All right, so now I want you guys to practice with this next example, but again, this is not on your paper. The zeros here we have, you guys told me it was negative 5, 2, and 7, but I cut off the rest of the graph here, but just negative 5 and 2. When is the function decreasing? So remember, decreasing is going downwards. So I'll highlight it for you guys, and then you guys figure out the intervals. So decreasing, remember, it's top to bottom. Again, this is not on your notes, so you don't have to go look for it. This is not in your notes. You guys are just going to talk to your partner about it, okay? So the decreasing function is that blue part right there, but remember, we need to figure out our fake coordinate point. Is that the left side or the right side? And is it going up forever or is it going down forever? Look at the end of it. The end of it is going up forever.
So you start from like the bottom going like up.
Well, when you're looking at the fake coordinate, yeah, you go to look at the arrow. The arrow is going up forever. Yeah. Okay.
But if it's always left, would it be negative infinity and the right positive?
For the left and the right, yeah.
The left is negative and the right is positive.
Yes. Okay. So go ahead and talk to your partner. Righties, what would be that fake coordinate point right there? Which infinities would you have here? Talk to your partner. What are those infinities? Oh, all right. Well, it doesn't help that I don't have it on your notes either, so. All right, ready? So you guys are just talking about that fake coordinate point at the top. So the first blank is going to the left. So going to the left forever is which infinity? Positive or negative? Negative infinity. And then going up forever is going to which infinity? Positive or negative? Positive infinity. Good. So, it would help, I guess, if you draw. I should have started with that. So let's do that. If you guys have a X and Y coordinate, maybe you can draw this on the front cover, the pink front cover right here. Or on the back, it's up to you, but if you do it on the front, it's like right next to the lesson. If we look at an X and Y coordinate, I should have started with this, but looking at an X and Y coordinate, this is the right side. This one's pointing to the left side. This one's going up. And then the bottom over here, this is going down, right? So going to the right forever, my x's, what are the x's doing? I'm going 10, 100, 1,000, and keeps going forever to which infinity? Positive infinity, right? Now, if I look at the left side, where are the x's going? The x's are going like negative 10, negative 100, negative 1,000, going forever to which infinity? Negative infinity. And then looking at the y-axis is going up forever. It's going like 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, 100, 1,000, going up to positive infinity. And then this y-axis going downwards is going negative 10, negative 100, negative 1,000, and keeps getting closer and closer to negative infinity. Okay? So when I write that right up, left down, or whatever, look at the x-coordinate graph and which direction are the infinities going. Okay? So I hope that helps a little bit. All right, so now back to the decreasing function. When is the function decreasing? But remember, you're going from the left to the right. At the start of the blue to the end of the blue. And remember, for the interval, they're both x's. You got the x1, comma, the x2. So go ahead and I think I said righties last time. So lefties, tell your partner what would be the interval for decreasing, blank, comma, blank. So again, the start of the blue to the end of the blue, you're looking at the x-coordinates. Okay, ready? All right, I'm about to call people. So tell me, what is your coordinate point for decreasing? Below? Yeah. So look at the x-coordinate at the start of the blue to the end of the blue. It's okay if you don't know. This is our first example you guys are trying, so it's okay. Deb, can you help him out? Okay, negative infinity to negative 3. Thank you. Jackie, did you guys agree? Or did you guys say something else? Negative 3 to positive infinity? Okay, thank you. So I heard negative 3 to negative 3, negative 3 to positive infinity. Natalia, what did you guys say? Okay, so you got another one for these. Let me call one more page. What did you guys say? Positive infinity to negative 3. All right, so there seems to be a confusion here because we got different answers. So if we go again for decreasing, remember going from the left side, the start of the blue to the end of the blue, right? At the start of the blue to the end of the blue. But remember, we're looking at the x1, x2 coordinates. So the x coordinate is negative infinity to the end of the blue is negative 3, okay? So negative infinity to negative 3 is what you should have had. The start of the blue is at negative infinity, and it ends at negative 3 is the x coordinate, okay? But I overheard some of you guys said you thought we were on the increasing part, but it was decreasing. Okay. Now let's look at increasing. So for the increasing, and I know this is not on your paper, but I just wanted you guys to kind of just talk to your partner. Increasing, you're going upwards from left to right, okay? So going up from the bottom to the top, notice it actually stops there. I don't have an arrow this time. It stops at 2 zeros. So that's actually an end point right there. Okay. So for the increasing interval, I'm looking at x1 and x2. They're both x's. From the start of the pink to the end of the pink, from the start of the pink to the end of the pink, we're looking for x values. So go ahead and righties, tell your partner from the start of the pink to the end of the pink, what are the x coordinates there for your interval? Okay, so from the start of the pink to the end of the pink, okay, ready? We're looking at the x values. Jasmine? -3, 2. Okay, thank you. Isabella Valencia, can you tell us, what did you guys say? Same thing? Okay, one more. Lupita, can you tell us? Where are you at? Oh, that's you. Okay. Interval for increasing, what'd you say? -3, positive infinity. Okay, so I heard -3, positive 2, and -3, -3 to positive infinity. Remember, it's the start of the pink to the end of the pink. In the last examples, there was arrows, so I kept going forever to the top, right? It keeps going. But in this example, there's no arrows, so it stops at the 2. So then this is actually the correct answer. -3 to 2, okay? It's not this bottom answer because, again, the last examples, it kept going forever, but this one, it stops at 2. So you would say -3, 2. Okay? Question?
Yeah, we thought that it went like all the way because we couldn't see.
No, yeah, I said that's an endpoint. I told you guys, but I know. You don't have the picture in front of you, so it's okay. All right, so now back to the second page of your notes. Now we're still looking at the top text box up here, but now we're looking at this second graph on the side over here. Okay? So still at the text box, but now we're looking at the second graph on the side. This is on the second page of your notes here. And you got two fill in the blanks right there. So you're filling the blanks. A function is blank. Your first blank is positive when it's above the x-axis for x values between zeros. And then the second blank, a function is blank. So your second blank is negative. So positive and negative are your two blanks. A function is positive when it's above the x-axis and for x values between zeros, and a function is negative when it's below the x-axis and for x values between zeros. All right, so for positive, I'm going to be using green. Oops, I thought that was a highlighter. I'm going to be using green for positive. It has to be above the x-axis. And this time it's the x values between the zeros. So if I look at the graph here, and if I block off the bottom of the graph, because I'm only looking above the x-axis, notice I have three sections. I got this is positive here, this is positive in the middle, and then this is positive at the end over here, okay? If you block off the bottom of the graph, I'm looking at this portion is positive, this portion is positive, and then this portion is positive over here, okay? If you block off the bottom of the graph, because it's positive above the x-axis, you got those three sections right there would be positive, okay? For the functions to be negative, I'm going to be using purple for negative. Negative is I'm actually crossing out the top of the graph because it's below the x-axis. Well, I have this section here and then this section here for the negative, okay? So for negative, it's below the x-axis, below the x-axis. So below the x-axis is negative for x values between zeros. And so again, remember, we're looking at the values between the zeros. So this here, this time I have zeros are the changing points. So if you notice, it changes from green to purple, purple to green at zeros instead of max and min. So if I look at the first example, for the function to be positive, I'm using green for positive. Remember, I'm looking above the x-axis. Just hold on a second before you start packing. We still have like 2 minutes, so we can do this. Above the x-axis, if I cross out the bottom of the x-axis, I'm looking at this top portion. And same thing, I'm looking at the x values from -3 is the start of the green to the end of the green. It goes to 1, so -3 to 1. And then for the decreasing, for the negative is below the x-axis, so I got 2 portions this time. And this we said was -infinity, -infinity. This was positive infinity, negative infinity, correct? So the start of the purple goes from -infinity to -3, union, and it keeps going now from 1 to positive infinity. Union because I got 2 portions there, okay? All right, thank you. You guys can clean up. Please help me sanitize the desk. And we'll finish this lesson tomorrow. So no homework tonight. And please return my highlighters if you borrowed any.